Yoga nidra is basically a form of basically meditation. And if you're getting really technical about it, I don't think it's a meditation. It's something else. But for all intents and purposes, it's basically a sort of meditation exercise you can do, where you scan through your body, and it gives you a sort of state of deep rest that allows you to sort of reset and basically get a lot of the benefits of sleep without actually going to sleep itself. It's been popularised by people like Andrew Huberman, a lot of these self-improvement people. And I remember the first time I heard about Yoga Nidra, and I just thought, wow, like there's a way that I can get all the benefits of sleep without actually going to sleep. All I have to do is just listen to some tape of someone, telling me what part of the body to focus on. Like, wow, is that what it is? I was really excited by it. And I gave it a try, and I found it reached a lot of good results. I thought, wow, this is great. Like, a lot of potential here. But the more I did it, what swiftly became apparent for me was that it wasn't something that could be relied on. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't work. And other times I'd frankly just find it annoying and frustrating. And other times it would kind of not really work, and then I'd try to convince myself that it did work, just to make myself feel better. I feel like I hadn't wasted my time, or I'd sort of do it and I could tell it wasn't really working, but I'd still persevere with it, and then still wouldn't get anywhere with it. And to be frank, I found it very extremely frustrating. And it's funny because something that I've realised recently, like just from observing people and like talking to people about this stuff, is there does seem to be two camps of people when it comes to these kind of mindfulness practices. So I'm talking about Yoga Nidra here, but this goes for Yoga Nidra, meditation, there do seem to be some people to whom like they'll do one of these practices and like meditation or Yoga Nidra, and like it'll take them a bit of time to get into the flow with it, build a habit or whatever, but they do seem to reap the benefits reasonably quickly, and they can then rely on it from then on quite quickly. Obviously it's a generalization, but then there's a kind of second camp of people to whom it is just so difficult to reap any kind of benefit from these sort of mindfulness practices. Like I practice meditation daily for about 4, 5, 6 months. I was meditating every day, and I had a kind of initial stage of 2 or 3 weeks where I got a lot of benefits from it. And then for the rest of the time that I was meditating, which about 5 months, let's say it was 5 months, I just got nothing from it, And again, like same thing, I found it extremely frustrating and strange. And for a while I did think that, okay, I just need to persevere with this, I just need to do it more and more. And then eventually I'm going to have a big breakthrough with it. But increasingly, like, I know it sounds a bit of a cop-out, but increasingly I have sort of thought there are some people to whom it's just so much harder to get these habits to do the good things that they're meant to do, something more than just building it into your routine, because that's where I was with meditation and with Yoga Nidra as well, is I was doing it every day, I had the habit built, and I still just didn't quite get anything. I didn't really get anything from it, and so I just want to explain my thoughts with Yoga Nidra now, where I am with it as well, and to some extent meditation as well, because they are quite similar. But Yoga Nidra is the one that really sort of excites me at the moment. So I think the first sort of approach I take in this situation is I don't have, like, there are so many things out there, so many self-improvement things that people talk about. and it's very easy, like especially guys like Andrew Huberman. You know, at the end of the day, you know, he's a scientist, he's whatever, but part of his success is he's good at selling stuff. You know, he just makes it sound really exciting, and I think it's authentic, like it's genuine. You know, like he loves this stuff. He loves all this health and science metrics, but he does make it sound really exciting, and it gets you really motivated to do it. You know, all these things like sunlight, electrolytes, you know, sauna, cold plunge, whatever, and you just want to do all these habits every day. You know, and you know, yoga nidra is no exception, right? But increasingly, what I've realized is like, if you try something and it's not giving you the return investment, you know, that you want to see, and it's reasonable for you to expect, just, I think, do yourself a favor and just cuss it out. You know, the truth is, like, you don't have time for every habit. You know, and I think my attitude now is you should be really selective about what habits have the most sort of return investment on you, for you, and then do that. So, for example, for me, I don't struggle to get a good sort of buzz from rigorous exercise, from going to the gym or going on a run, you know, or having a cold shower. That stuff works for me, you know. So I include that in my routine because it works. You know, if I want to have a good day, I'll say, okay, I'll go to the gym this day, you know, because it just sets your mind up really well. And you have to be quite selective with it, really, because the truth is, like, your whole day it can't be like just a whole list of stuff that you want to do, like these kind of habits, great though they are to do. You know, at some point, I think if you want to really live a fulfilled life, you need to do something more practical. You need to get down to something, you know, where that's just simply making money, or some kind of, you know, creative endeavor that's kind of separated from your self-improvement. I think this is a big dilemma that a lot of self-improvement YouTubers, influencers face, is it's like you can't make your life all about self-improvement, you know, all about health. You know, I think if you want to live a truly meaningful life, you need to connect yourself with something that's important, and in the small sort of pockets that you have spare, you cram that full with stuff that gives you the most return on investment. So anyway, what does this have to do with Yoga Nidra? Well, the point I'm getting at is, you know, if Yoga Nidra isn't giving you what you want, you don't have to do it. You know, and this is something that I realised with both Yoga Nidra and meditation is I'm not going to die if I don't do it. You know, if you're doing all the reasonable things, like if you're taking the time out to put on a Yoga Nidra recording, and providing you're not doing something stupid like, oh, you're getting up halfway through it and you're going for a piss, you know, or you're, you know, I don't know, you stop it halfway through to reply to a text message or something like that. If you're turning up with intention, you know, setting your room up properly, you know, getting into bed, listening to the recording, taking it seriously, and it still isn't giving you the results, don't be, the onus isn't then on you to do more. You know, you've turned up, you've done the thing. You should expect to see something back. And if you shouldn't, then don't be like, oh, because this is the cycle that I got into. I was just thinking, oh no, I need to do more. I need to do another meditation. I need to do another Yoga Nidra thing. And it just gets you on this massive sort of circle, this massive cycle that's just never ending and very frustrating. So that's the first thing, is you don't have to do it every day. You know, if it's not giving you the consistent results that you want to see, you know, you can't do every habit, and it's better to do a few habits that really have a high return on investment in setting up your day than having a whole bunch of kind of mediocre ones that don't really work and you don't really know where you're headed with it. So that's the first thing that I'd say. The second thing I would say is you don't have to completely divorce it either. So it's very easy just to get locked in with these kind of habits, and you're kind of on or off with them, you know. So you either think that the habits, you know, you see this in the fitness industry all the time. People are either really into something or really against something. You know, it's a bit of a different example, but like meat, you know, people either really think it's really healthy or it's really unhealthy. Or veganism is either really healthy or really unhealthy. You know, it's kind of same, you can get in the same predicament with these habits like yoga nidra. You can either, you know, if you're a bit like me, you'll either go like, I've got to do it every single day, or you'll be like, oh, it's a waste of time, it's complete bullshit, I'm never going to do it ever. But I found a lot of sort of, it makes a lot of sense to me to take more of a middle ground with it these days. So where I am at the moment, like, I don't practice yoga nidra as a habit every day. It's not built into my routine. But if I feel like having a nap, and I've got 20 minutes, and I feel in the mood, I will put on a yoga nidra. And sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't matter, you know. I'm not trying to make it into something that it isn't. You know, I'm not sort of thinking, oh, it's the most important habit ever, but I'm also not rejecting it either. Like, there's definitely something to it, you know. And when I want to use it, I'll use it, but I don't have to marry it, you know. So there's this kind of middle ground of just when you fancy it, use it, but you don't have to chip it into a routine. But then just because it's not chipped into a routine doesn't mean you can't. It doesn't mean you're sort of betraying your routine if one day you do decide to use it. So that's the other thing, and it's the same for me with meditation. Same with you know, Wim Hof breathing, stuff like this. There's these kind of peripheral 20-minute sort of things that you can do. It's all right just to do it when you're in the mood to, you know. And I think that's how you get these. This is quite a good way to adopt these kind of habits, because with me, when I do show up and have a good yoga nidra session, then I set kind of a positive loop with it, and it's not like I do one good one and then I do 10 bad ones. I'm only doing it when I'm in the mood to do it, and therefore, like, I'll only get like be more likely to get a good session when I do it, and that builds a habit quite quickly by positive reinforcement, rather than it being like, oh, I have to do it, and you very quickly disconnect from the actual advantages that it's giving you. And yeah, it's funny because I know people always say, like, you know, oh, you got to show up every day no matter what, and I do believe that. I think that is important. But you got to be selective about what that is. You know, you got to show up to work every day, or your job, or you know, your business, whatever it is. Yeah, you got to do that kind of hard work. But in terms of like the sort of life optimizing thing, these things like meditation, these things like yoga nidra that are more peripheral, and appear to be more subjective. I'm beginning to become more comfortable with taking a more kind of just free flow approach with it, and I don't seem to lose out on anything with it, with this attitude. And the last thing I'll say about this is, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, is if you really want to break through with something, you've got to pay the price for it, you know. And I've decided this about a lot of stuff in my life, is you're not going to get that far, really, just watching stuff on YouTube. Like, you're not. You know, you can get inspired by a lot of stuff on YouTube. You can get a certain way, with it, like 100%. But it's still quite slow, you know. And if you can access some level of expertise about a topic that you want to improve on, it's a much quicker return on investment. And so this for me has been a big source of kind of motivation to explode my income, because I want to spend money on improving these things like meditation, yoga nidra. I want to break through them, because what I've realised is if I want to get better at them seriously, I need to spend money on it, really. I need to get someone who really knows about yoga nidra, who's seen people get better at it, who can give me really in-depth sort of guidance about it. And I can ask them a very specific question and they'll already know the answer to it, in a way that I can't really with myself, Um, and so that's the last thing. At some point, I do want to get like coaching or some kind of teaching about yoga nidra and about meditation, because I do think the return on investment on my life would be really good. But that requires income, and there's a bit of a resistance to spending money on this kind of improvement. There's a lot of ego involved. You kind of want to do it yourself, that kind of thing. But what I've realised is the return on investment is just too great to ignore doing that. So that's my kind of take on it. Yeah, I think it's a very powerful skill.